Well, I don't know if the lighting got any better. I was trying to fix it, but I don't think it got any better. Well, maybe it got a little better. Maybe it got a little better. Okay. Welcome back. This is our second part of the Bible studies that we do during Shabbat, during the Sabbath day. And the evening, we do one on Friday night, usually at around 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, or now Eastern Daylight Time, and then 11 a.m. or thereabouts on Sabbath morning. And then this is the second one and the final one we do for the Shabbat for the weekend. And we have been studying the prophecies of Jeremiah. And we started chapter 1, and we're going chapter by chapter. And now we are in chapter 50, and we are at the part of this prophecy, which the Bible tells us in Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 1. The prophet is recorded here saying, the word that Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. And that's how it starts off. Welcome back to everyone. And so it's starting off with, as a prophecy against Babylon. Again, okay, we just want to say, why is that special? Why does that mean anything? Is because the book of Revelation, which is universally understood to be a prophetic book of the end times, talks about Babylon. It talks predominantly about, in terms of its enemy, about a system called Babylon. And again, we studied this maybe a week and a half ago. There's a Bible study on it under the playlist, the Raw Hebrew Remnant Teachings. It was a Wednesday night, and we were discussing, what is Babylon? Who is Babylon? How do you get out of Babylon? And as we discussed it and we looked at it in the Word, we realized modern Babylon is a worldwide system. It's not any one place. It's a worldwide system. But the orders, the marching orders, come out of Rome. And they come directly from the dragon to the woman. And from the dragon and the woman in Rome, the dragon also controls the United States, who deceives the earth because it looks like a lamb. It represents itself as representing the lamb, but really it represents a white Jesus that doesn't exist. And it says, the Bible says, it deceives the earth. So that Babylon is made up of all of this, plus all of the political systems of the earth, all of the business corporate systems of the earth, and of course, more, to the point and more to the front, the religious systems of the earth, because the Bible shows us that the ultimate aim is for Satan, the spirit enemy of the Most High Yah, this enemy of righteousness, to be worshipped. And so he is receiving worship because everyone is living under a system he created. Now, the question might be asked, and I can understand why it might be asked. The question might be asked, let's see if I can get this light a little better anyway. The question might be asked, let me move this a little bit. The question might be asked, well, I don't know. The question might be asked, and it rightly would be asked, why did the Most High allow Satan to create this system? Why does he allow Satan the power to create a system that Satan is being worshipped? Why does he allow a system that is allowing, crushing, oppressing poor people, the people of Yah, and all the peoples of the earth for money and for greed and for power? Why does Yah allow that system? And the answer people don't like, but it's the answer. Yah allows the system is because it's the system that his created human beings chose. Let me say that again. The system is permitted because it's the system that the created human beings chose. You say, when did we choose this system, this Babylon system? Let's go back and look. Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2. Well, let's go to Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1. Let's start there. Genesis chapter 1. And let's start in Genesis chapter 1. And let's see. I'm going to start at verse 24. Genesis chapter 1, verse 24. You see, people in this day and age in which we live, nobody wants to deal with history. Why? Because history, the reason Asatan wants to cover up history is because history unveils the truth. And nobody today, even today in the United States of America, they're fighting to not be able to show the history of what slavery did to black people. They're fighting to stop it from coming in school. They want to cover it up, soften it up, change it up. They're trying to change the character of who Malcolm X was or who Martin Luther King really was. But see, in the books of the Most High, it's plain. You can't change it. He has not ordained or allowed people to change it because he wants us to see it in these last days if we would accept it. And here it is, Genesis chapter 1, beginning at verse 24 and going down to verse 31. And the Most High said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, and creeping thing and beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And the Most High made beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. And the Most High said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So the Most High made man in his own image. In the image of the Most High created he him. Male and female created he them. And the Most High blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And Yahweh said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to every living thing that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And Yahweh saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. In the evening and the morning were the sixth day. The Most High upon creation gave Adam dominion over the planet with his wife Eve that he made. But in Genesis chapter 3, the moment they disobeyed Yah and obeyed the enemy, they not only brought ruin on the earth, they gave their dominion to Asatan. That's what happened. Chapter 3, Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh Most High had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, hath the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yah has said, we shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said, this is where the downfall, ye shall not surely die. Direct contradiction to what their creator told them. Ye shall not surely die. For Yahweh doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, now it was not good for food before. The Most High said, don't eat it. It's not good for food. You're going to die if you eat it. Now she's believing someone else. And she's disbelieving the command, the express command of her creator. And she's not even consulting her husband. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. That's when Babylon was started. That's when the system of oppression led by greed was started. That's when exploitation was started. That's where it began. Right there. And it's been developed and it's continued all these thousands of years later to now. So somebody might rightly ask, okay, man chose the devil. How does God force now the hand of man when man chose the devil? Excellent question. Excellent question. The Most High knows that there are people on the planet that will serve him if given a choice. Just like they chose, Adam and Eve chose to serve Satan by eating that fruit. Adam and Eve and their children would have a choice to come back to the Most High. In order to make that choice a reality, certain things had to be done. His word cannot be unfulfilled. Yah's word cannot be unfulfilled. Every word of Yah is going to be fulfilled. Therefore, when he told Adam and Eve, if you eat of this fruit, you're going to die, death is a requirement. In order for them not to die, they would have had to perfectly obey their father. They would have had to be obedient to his word when he said, do not eat this fruit. So obedience is required. But now it's backwards because death has to be required first. So how do you escape death to perform obedience? That is the reason for the being called Messiah. That is his reason for being. He became flesh to represent Father's perfect righteousness. He was offered for the sin of Israel. Wait a minute. Let's go back. So the Most High knows he would have people that would choose him if given a choice. And he had people that chose him. Adam repented of his sin and had a son, Seth, who chose the Most High. The Bible says, then began man to call upon the name of Yahweh, because now they was given a choice. They didn't have to serve the gods of this world that Satan had started creating before the flood. They could now serve the Creator again. They could choose him. But in order to do that, they needed a sacrifice, which is why Abel brought an animal lamb representing Messiah as a sacrifice. And they burned it on an altar representing the coming of the Messiah that was going to be the sacrifice for this people that would choose the Creator. And you had a lineage of people all the way down to Noah. And then Noah was the one, he said, you have found grace in my sight. I will establish my covenant with you, he told Noah. Noah had 3 sons, one of whom was Shem. Shem had a son, Arphaxad. Arphaxad had a son, Eber. Eber had a son, Perez. And it went down the line till you get to a man named Abraham, who was the Hebrew, a descendant of Eber, the original Hebrew, a descendant of Shem, Noah's son. Abraham was faithful to serve righteousness. He wanted the Most High. And the Most High said, okay, separate from your family. Separate from the land you're from. And I'm going to bring you to a land that I'm going to give you. I'm going to make you a great nation. Abraham was 75 years old, 75, when he was told that. He left. He had the promised son eventually, Yesha'ak. Yesha'ak had twins, one of whom was Jacob, who became the progenitor of righteousness. Jacob had 12 sons, who became the children of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, who are the chosen people of Yah in the last days. And because of that, he sent, that is Yah, Messiah, to pay the penalty for sin for the people that he had chosen as a promise to Abraham, his friend. You say, what about the rest of the earth? The rest of the earth can come to the Most High Yah through the Hebrew Messiah. But the problem is, as Revelation 13 brings out, Revelation 13 and verse 11 brings out, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. The problem is, Satan has created a fake version of Messiah, a Caucasian man of the children of Japhet that eats pork, that breaks the commandment and tells you there's no more commandments. A fake version of the son of Yah of the tribe of Judah by telling us There's no more Israel. There's no more Judah. This is the one that looks like a lamb, but he's not the lamb. Okay, he's not the lamb. And the true people of Yah, the bloodline that had been scattered into this Babylonian system that is by design created to destroy you. Those people are now, according to prophetic utterance from the Most High Yahweh through Moses, are awakening to who they are, to who their God is, and making the choice to go back to their God. Making the choice through Messiah to receive perfect righteousness from the Father that Adam forfeited through his choice. And through those chosen people of Yah, the earth can receive salvation. But they have to accept the truth of who Yah's chosen people are. And this is the challenge of the last days for the heathen. It's not a challenge for those of us that are following the truth. It's a challenge for the heathen, though. And this is where we take up in the prophetic demise of Babylon, part 3. We did part 1 last night. We did part 2 earlier this morning. And now we're doing part 3. The prophetic demise of Babylon as prophesied through his Hebrew prophet Jeremiah of the tribe of Levi, a priest. Jeremiah chapter 50. Let's start at verse 17. Israel is a scattered sheep. Lions have driven him away. First, the king of Syria hath devoured him. Last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, hath broken his bones. Israel is a scattered sheep. Please understand this theme is throughout all the Bible. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 witnesses to this fact that the true Israelite people are not in the state of Israel. They're a scattered sheep. They are being attacked. They are being destroyed. It looks here earlier in chapter 50. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. Verse 7. All that found them have devoured them. Their adversaries said, we offend not. That's been the true history of the true Israelite people. We're a scattered sheep. We're a scattered nation. Notice again, Zechariah chapter 1. Zechariah chapter 1. I'm giving y'all this so that somebody want to challenge you and say they're the SDA church or the Jehovah Witnesses or the Mormons. They're not no scattered sheep. They haven't been destroyed and devoured every place they've gone. But you know who has? The true southern nation of Judah, from being in chains in the holds of slave ships to being in chains and chain gangs in jail right now because they haven't been charged with a crime yet, but they don't have the bail money. Slavery still exists. They have their bodies stolen so that they can take their organs out and sell them. It still exists. To be shot down in the street, to be redlined, to be poisoned with crack, it still exists. Our freedom is based in our returning to our God. Zechariah chapter 1. I already said is scattered is the watchword, right? Zechariah chapter 1, verse 18 and 19. Actually, from 18 to 21. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, 4 horns. And I said unto the angel that talked with me, what be these? And he answered me, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. And Yahweh showed me 4 carpenters. Then said I, what come these to do? And he spake, saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head. But these are come to fray them, to cast out the horns of the Gentiles, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah, to scatter it. Deuteronomy. There's actually several witnesses in Deuteronomy. There's several witnesses in Deuteronomy. I'm going to start it. My favorite one is chapter 30, but there's another one I was looking for, but I'm going to go with chapter 30. Deuteronomy chapter 30, beginning at verse 1. Actually, wait a minute. Let me go to chapter 28. We all know chapter 28, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even to the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, wood and stone. Scatter. Okay, Deuteronomy. How about Ezekiel? Ezekiel chapter 36. Ezekiel chapter 36. Verse 16 to verse 19. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way and by their doing. Their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman. Wherefore I poured out my fury upon them for the blood that they had shed upon the land, and for their idols wherewith they had polluted it, and I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries according to their way, according to their doings. I judged them. Wait, while we're on it, Deuteronomy, Ezekiel chapter, that was chapter 36. Daniel, let's go to Daniel. One more, Daniel. Daniel chapter 12. Daniel chapter 12, verse 7. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he had held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half, when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people. All these things shall be finished. We're not an organized 501c3 corporation. We're not a camp. We are a scattered nation, scattered into the four corners of the earth. That's the true church, the true Israelite people that are victims of Babylon. Okay? Victims of Babylon. Babylon was created by Satan to destroy us. See? And he will allow, you say, well, there's people that prosper in Babylon. Yeah, most of them entertainers, first of all. Right? They're entertainers, rap artists, singers, R&B artists, actors, athletes, right? Entertainers. And they perform on a big stage for Satan, and they get paid. Most of us don't reach that height. Okay? Don't reach that height. No, the majority of the people that are bloodline Israelites are being destroyed by Babylon. And it's so bad now that even Caucasian people are also being destroyed by the same system. They're being destroyed. And that's prophetic. Remember I said, return unto her double. See, they don't understand that they didn't have nothing to do with what their fathers did, but the results are on them. The same with us. We ain't have nothing to do with what our fathers did, but the results are on us. You have to understand it that way in order to see it fairly. We are being destroyed by Babylon because of the sins of our fathers. The Caucasians are being destroyed by Babylon because of the sins of their fathers and creating it. They brought crack to us, right? 1980s. The government created crack. They bring it to the inner cities of the United States, right? Cause brothers to settle in gangs and fight over territories, over the profits that's being made from this drug. Much cheaper, much quicker to make, much easier to make than cocaine. Cocaine was there first. Heroin was there first. Okay. But then they created crack. It was easy to make. It was quick. It was cheap. And a little hit would get somebody hooked. Right. They had put that in all our neighborhoods after they redlined our neighborhoods. They put that all in our neighborhood. And instead of helping the crackhead, they said, we need to get tough on crime. These are super predators out here. We need to give them a 3 strikes law. And so brothers started doing life sentences for 3 strikes of non-violent crimes. They're still in jail from 20, 30 years ago. Okay. But now, what we got now? The opioid crisis. The opioid crisis out now. And now it's the Caucasian people getting hooked on the opioids. They out here in the street begging, tricking, doing whatever they could do to get that dollar to buy that next pill. Right? Now what? Well, we got to help them. Well, we need programs to help them. They're unfortunate victims in this evil thing. Babylon was not created to help us. It was created to destroy us. And we are still here because the Creator's word will be fulfilled. We're going to be here. And he's going to gather us. And not only are we going to survive, we're going to thrive. The kingdom's going to come to us. And to all the poor and oppressed people of the planet, the kingdom is for us. And Jeremiah 50 goes into it even more. Jeremiah 50. Let's start where we stopped there. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 17. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria hath devoured him, and last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, hath broken his bone. Therefore, thus saith the Yahweh of hosts, the Most High of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria. And I will bring again, and I will bring Israel again to his habitation. And he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied from Mount Ephraim and Gilead. In those days and in that time, saith Yahweh, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and shall not be, and there shall be none. And the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found. For I will pardon them whom I reserve. I think we stopped off there. That's the gospel right there in Jeremiah. There it is. Verse 21. Go up against the land of Merathaim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekod, and waste and utterly destroy after them, saith Yahweh. Do according to all that I have commanded thee. Now, these were areas in ancient Babylon. A sound of battle is in the land of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon. And thou wast not aware, thou art found, and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. Let me show you something. Who are the nations that are going to be destroying Babylon? Watch. And it's a theme that the Bible has shown us before. I'll explain in a minute, but let's look at it in Revelation chapter 17. Now, we know the Bible shows us the great whore with Mystery Babylon, Mystery Babylon, the great mother of harlots and abominations of the earth, right? We saw that. Now, watch this. Now, let's read from that point. I'm going to read from verse 7 of Revelation chapter 17. Again, we did a Revelation series. It's available. It's on both our website and on YouTube in the Raw Hebrew Remnant channel. You'll see the playlist for the Revelation series. I believe it was 2020 we did it. Might have been 2021. I can't remember now, but we did a Revelation series. You'll see it there. We went into this chapter in great detail. Okay, so let's take a look at it. And so we're not going to go into as great detail now as we did then, but I want to show you the point of my question was, who destroys Babylon? Aside from the Most High, who else pitches in? Let's look. Revelation chapter 17, beginning at verse 7. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. It's telling them that it all together, the horns, the beast itself, and the whore, it's all one. That's why we say it's a religious power, a political power, business, a corporate power, all one, and it's worldwide. Okay. Verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast, just a short time. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So the 10 horns are 10 kings or 10 kingdoms or 10 nations. Okay. And they're with the horn. They want power, right? They said they have received no kingdom as yet. So the kingdom is being formed. In Revelation 13 is formed. Revelation 13 actually happens after Revelation 17. How do we know it's formed? Because they said there were kings that received no kingdom as yet. When you get a kingdom, you receive something. What do you get? Revelation 13 verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea. Watch this now. Having 7 heads and 10 horns. There's the horns. But wait. And upon the horns, 10 crowns. And upon his heads, the name of blasphemy. See, by 13, they have received the kingdom. That's the apex. That's the power, the ultimate power point of Babylon. They received the kingdom. So now you have 10 nations. Don't worry. They're in the UN. All you have to do is look at the G8. That's them. Look at it. It's there. G8. It was G6, G7, G8. It's going to be G10 eventually. Okay. Now, these nations are making up the power structure of Babylon. Right now, they call them the 8 industrialized nations, 7 industrialized nations. Look at who they are. You'll see it. There's going to be more. And then when you look it up, Google it, look up the G8, the G7, whatever. And then there's other nations that meet when they meet. It's not just them. Those are the ones leading the meeting, but there's other nations invited. Among those invited nations, there's going to be 2 more that's going to be put in there. Okay? Okay, you'll see. And now... watch what happens, though. Back to Revelation 17. Okay. They receive power 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind. Give their power and strength to the beast. Watch verse 14. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Making war with the Lamb is making war with Israel, his chosen people. Because when you make war with him, the Bible say, when you make war with them, you're touching who? The apple of his eye. Zechariah chapter 2, 1 through 4. You're touching the apple of his eye. So they're making war with the saints, and in doing that, they're making war with the Lamb, and the Lamb's going to respond. That's Revelation 19. But wait, before that, verse 15, watch. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. In other words, they join forces for power and money, but they really don't like her. They have sex with her, but they don't like her. Hey, that's not uncommon today. People have sex all the time with people they don't like. For whatever reason they do it. Here you go. These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. So the same 10 horns that created the Babylonian power structure are going to attack the whore and destroy it. That's happened before. Read 2 Chronicles chapter 20. The same thing. So they're going to attack their own system and destroy it. You know, it's interesting. Let me back up for a second so you can get an idea of what's going on here. Y'all, well, okay, I was going to say y'all remember, but y'all may not, you weren't alive. I was alive then. That's how old I am. But when Martin Luther King was murdered, it was 1968. Okay, Martin Luther King was murdered. It was just that, and then the couple, less than 2 months later, Bobby Kennedy was murdered. And the cities in the United States just busted out. What happened? There was so much pent-up anger. Black people had been hoping and waiting on Martin Luther King, hoping for Bobby Kennedy, hoping that these people would bring about change that would help us. And when it didn't, the people exploded. They exploded in Newark, New Jersey. They exploded in Detroit, Michigan, in Cleveland, Ohio. They exploded in Los Angeles. Every place where the Hebrews have been redlined and gathered together in large numbers exploded. Why? People say, well, they're destroying their own place. No, they're destroying places they had no ownership in. The same thing happened with George Floyd. When George Floyd was killed, People exploded because we have no ownership in anything. We weren't getting any rights. And now our hope of it was destroyed. And we just exploded. Well, people say, well, you're destroying your own place. Watch. The Caucasians are going to do the same thing. When it breaks out and they realize their hope is lost, their cause is destroyed, they're going to be destroying their own places. That's why Revelation 18 talks about they're weeping and wailing. And why are they destroying their own places? Well, verse 17 of chapter 17. For Yah hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. That's the Vatican. The Vatican City is a nation. If you look it up, look up Vatican City, you'll see. It'll say Vatican City, a nation in Europe. That's what it'll say, because that's what it is. That great city. They hate her. And they're going to destroy her because they're going to fulfill Yah's will. They always talk about we destroying our own places. We don't destroy anything in our own place. We destroy places we live because we don't own anything there. We don't own anything. We have no hope of owning anything. The system is rigged against us. And now even the Caucasians realize it's rigged against you too. But some of them trying to use man to try to overcome it. There is no political party that's going to help you. You have no hope in it. There's no church that's going to help you. They're all part of the same Babylonian system. There's no savior from the Caucasian race that's going to rise and help you. It's not there. No, only the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob can help you. Yes. They're realizing too, they're getting squeezed as well. The system is rigged. Don't believe all of this crap about getting out of debt and all that. Yeah, we like to get out of debt, but the system is built on debt. It's manipulated us into debt. That's the truth about it. It's all good. You know why? Because it's going to be all destroyed. And there'll be a system of righteousness upon the earth. No more debt. No more death. No more disease. No more greed. As long as you have greed on the earth, it's going to be in this situation. But now we are seeing in Jeremiah the prophetic end of this greedy, exploitative, destructive system. Jeremiah chapter 50. Jeremiah chapter 50. It's going to talk about it all. Watch. Jeremiah chapter 50. Let's start at verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. Babylon will be, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one to his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. That's what Revelation 17 was just showing us. That's the 10 horns. Yahweh hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh our Most High. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. So I'm reading verse chapter 51. I'm sorry, I'm so far. I'm like, wait a minute, this is not it. That's chapter 51. I'm going ahead. That's for next week. Woo, sorry. Let's go back to chapter 50. No, that's chapter 51. I'm sorry. Let me go back to chapter 50. Whew, hold on. I was like, no, this ain't it. Wait a minute. Verse 20. In those days, in that time, saith Yahweh, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none. And the sins of Judah, they shall not be found, for I will pardon them whom I reserve. Go up in the land of Merathaim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekod, waste and utterly destroy after them, saith Yahweh, and do according to all that I have commanded thee. Sound a battle in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? Yeah, this is where we were. How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon. Thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. Yahweh hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Most High Yahweh of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her, from the utmost border. Open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bullocks. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. Oh, yes. Visitation is another word for judgment. Man, this lighting is terrible. Visitation is another word for judgment. I'm trying to see if I can make some adjustments to do something here. It's not helping. Anyway, visitation is another word for judgment. So look, the Bible says it's given man once to die, and after this, the judgment. And it's not just man. It is man, and it's all the systems of the earth. Everything is going to be judged by the Creator. And the Creator has given all judgment to Messiah. And so Babylon is going to be judged. Okay, they're also going to be judged. Yeah. Let's see. Verse 27. Slay all her bullocks. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. The voice of them that flee and escape of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of Yahweh our Most High, the vengeance of his temple. Let me stop for a second one more time, because as I mentioned to you, Babylon is a worldwide system. Okay, we understand it's a worldwide system. But I also want to warn you, I want to tell you, the USA is going to answer the most for what it has done upon the planet. In all of the countries it has done, all of the things it has done, it has to answer. For all of the blood it has shed, it has to answer. The United States of America is responsible. Let's just start with babies, with abortions. Millions upon millions of babies have been aborted. They have to answer for that. That's not including all the treatment of the Hebrews. They got to answer for that. They got to answer for all the other nations they came and took assets from and took over. They got to answer for that. They got to answer for all of the greed that they have expressed, that they have exercised over people that are not in corporate power. They got to answer for that. And there's a lot of more. There's human trafficking, sex operations, pornography. They got to answer for all of that. The poisoning of its own citizens. They got to answer for that. There's a lot to answer for. Judgment's going to hit this country. Now, what I'm saying is pray to the Most High as to where you should be. If he wants you in this country, if he wants me here, then we're going to be here. Okay? And he's going to be with us as he was with Jeremiah when all of his people was against him. He will be with us here too. But pray, because it could be, I've noticed, and maybe you've noticed, a lot of the brethren are leaving the U.S. Now, there's going to be problems all over the world, but it's going to be hottest right here. This is going to be the hotbed right here. This is going to be ground zero of judgment. Let me put it that way. That's the way I put it right there. This is going to be ground zero of judgment. Okay, ground zero, along with the Vatican and with the state of Israel. Ground zero of judgment is the United States of America. And so the Most High is, I believe, causing people to leave. There are people people are going to Africa, different countries in Africa. They're going to Mexico and Central and South America and the Philippines and Asia. They're going all over the earth. Okay. And so people are being led away from the U.S. Okay. And so wherever he guides you personally, just listen for his voice. Don't try to force it, because you don't want to be somewhere where he doesn't want you. That's the worst thing to be. The worst place on the planet is for you to choose to be somewhere that the Most High, your Most High, doesn't want you to be. That's the worst thing. The best place to be is where he leads you to be. And he will give you dreams. He's going to give you dreams and visions and impressions. His Spirit's going to talk to you. He's going to send people to talk to you. You can have multiple confirmations. That's the word I'm looking for. You can have multiple confirmations of where you're supposed to be. Okay. Some of people are already moving into very rural areas of the U.S. and growing your own stuff. If that's what he led you to do, then that's what he led you to do. For me, he led me to Washington, D.C. Here, I'm here. As long as he wants me here. If I'm here when it all breaks off, I'm just here. I don't worry about that. I'm just concerned with being where he wants me to be. And he sent me multiple confirmations, me and my wife. He will send you multiple confirmations wherever you're supposed to be. But it's going to be hottest right here in the U.S. It's going to be the hottest right here. It's about to come off. Judgment's falling's already started. These fires in the western part of the United States are already going crazy. You're seeing already much more intensity of hurricanes and storms hitting the U.S. You're already seeing earthquakes from different places. Earthquakes happening every day. Just that you don't hear about them. They happen every day. Some of them are more severe than others, right? Because they go by the magnitude, the Richter scale magnitude. But earthquakes are happening all over the U.S. and all over the world, but the U.S. is getting it every day. Okay? So there's a lot going on. And it's just the beginning. There's going to be more. There's going to be more things happening. There's going to be a lot more. And you combine that judgment with the power of greed that is on the earth. The greed factor is very large because everything that happens on corporate levels is about profit and money and control. And that also is to do with the religions as well. So you have the combination of these things all converging. So look, you got the judgments have already started. You got the greed level at all-time highs and the control and power level on levels of corporate power and government that has never been at this level before. You're seeing that. You're seeing all-time high in corruption. You're seeing diseases, right? All of these things are intense. And at the same time, the awakening of Yah's people is happening. Okay, so it's all coming together right now, and it's going to get more intense as time. The Bible is showing us when this Jeremiah is telling us it's going to get more intense as time gets older. So just be mindful, be mindful in your spirit, and talk to the Most High. You know, it could be that He would like you to move somewhere, and you say, "Well, how am I going to make it? How am I be supported?" He'll show you, but you have to trust Him. It could be He wants you right where you are. Okay, but you really want to listen for Him to guide you, because you're the safest place on the planet Earth is under the shadow of the wings of the Almighty. And that could be anywhere He wants you to be. Anywhere He wants you to be. Okay, just be there for your own safety, for your own benefit, and those that you love. Be there where He wants you to be. Right? Jeremiah chapter 50. Verse 27. No. Verse 29. Call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow. Camp against it round about. Let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done, do unto her. For she hath been proud against Yahweh, against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith Yahweh. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Most High Yahweh of hosts. For thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee, and the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. Notice again. See, remember, Jeremiah was the prophet of the southern kingdom captivity, but the Most High has given him prophecy concerning Israel and Judah, which means now he's dealing with today. Okay. The children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. They refused to let them go. All right. I don't believe in the Nation of Islam's doctrine, but I believe in brothers. I trust brothers. And one thing Elijah Muhammad had a good idea about, which was never going to happen, right? But the idea was, he said to his people, and he was talking to the Caucasian leaders, he said, y'all don't like us. That's cool. Let us have our own land and we'll go live there. And y'all leave us alone and we'll leave you alone. Now, that was never going to happen. And they tried to start it with Liberia. Liberia was supposed to be that. But of course, the government would not leave Liberia alone. Of course, they exploit it anyway. See, refuse to let them go. That's why Pharaoh said what Moses told Pharaoh: let my people go, that they may serve me. And what Pharaoh said: who is Yahweh that I would let the people go? I will not let Israel go. History repeats itself. What it was in the beginning, so shall it be at the end. History repeats itself. Okay, it repeats itself. There's nothing new under the sun. Our deliverance is going to be very similar to the deliverance of our fathers from Egypt. Only then it was literal, local, Mizraim, Egypt, commit. Now it's worldwide. Our deliverance, because Babylon is worldwide. We're in captivity worldwide. You understand? So the deliverance is worldwide. And he said, they refuse to let us go. We're in Babylon. But right now, again, we must escape Babylon in the spirit first, in the religious sense first, and who we worship first, to worship the only true God, Yahweh, and no other. Once we do that, the other stuff will follow. It's going to follow. Once we obey the first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. If you follow that, he's going to bring you in line with all the others by the power of his spirit. And then the second and third steps of escaping Babylon will come. You don't have to worry about that. They're going to come to you. Okay? Verse 34, their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name. See, this is where it's important that we know his name. His name is not the Lord of hosts. That's not a name. Lord is like a master, right? Like a master. That's a Lord, like a master, right? Even a teacher. But Yahweh, that's his name. Yah of hosts, that's his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith Yahweh, upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars that shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. They shall become as women. A sword is upon their treasure, and they shall be robbed. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. For it is the land of graven images, and they are mad about their idols. Therefore the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there, and owls shall dwell therein. It shall be no more inhabited forever. Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. As Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahweh, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. Behold, a people shall come from the north, a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. They shall hold the bow and lance. They are cruel. They will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. Let me show you the New Testament version. Revelation chapter 19. Battle in array against Babylon. Revelation chapter 19. Ready for their destruction. Revelation 19, verse 11. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he does judge and make war. Messiah coming to make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Yahweh. That's Messiah. He's the Word made flesh. He's Yah's word, spoken word, put in flesh. He's the righteousness of the Most High in human form. That's Messiah, the Word of Yah. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Al Shaddai. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Most High, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. Wait, I'm going to stop there because I want to show you also Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 39. Ezekiel 39. Oh, study Ezekiel, y'all. Study Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 39. Remember what I just read now. Watch Ezekiel 39. Ezekiel 39, beginning at verse 1. Ezekiel 39, beginning at verse 1. Therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against Gog, and say, thus saith the Most High Yahweh. Behold, I'm against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and leave but the sixth part of thee, and will cause thee to come up from the north parts. And I will bring thee upon the mountains of Israel, and I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand, and cause thine arrows to fall out of thy right hand, and thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel, thou and all thy bands, and the people that is with thee. And I will give thee unto the ravenous birds of every sort, and to the beasts of the field to be devoured. Thou shalt fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, saith Yahweh. Wait a minute. Let's skip down. I'm going to go from verse 17, the same chapter, Ezekiel 39. Remember what we read in Revelation. And thou, son of man, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, speak unto every feathered fowl and every beast of the field. Assemble yourselves and come. Gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice that I do sacrifice for you. Even the sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel, that ye may eat flesh and drink blood. Ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty, and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams, of lambs, of goats, of bullocks, all of them fatlings of Bashan. And ye shall eat fat till ye be full, and drink blood till ye be drunken, for my sacrifice which I have sacrificed for you. Thus shall ye be filled at my table with horses and chariots, with mighty men, and with all men of war, saith Yahweh of hosts. And I will set my glory among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed in my hand, that I have laid upon them. And the house of Israel shall know that I am Yahweh, their Most High, from that day and forward. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they transgressed against me. Therefore I hid my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword, according to their uncleanness. According to the transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Therefore, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and I will be jealous for my holy name. It's all together. It all works together, y'all. It's all together. All the prophets speak with one voice. The word speaks with one voice. You don't have to be confused or lost or in darkness. It's all here. We just have to put the willingness together to read and prayerfully ask for guidance. Most High will guide you if you ask him. If you ask him for guidance and you're willing to listen to him, he's going to guide you. Oftentimes the places you would not have chose for yourself. But he's going to guide you. He's going to bless you and guide your way and protect you. And your life will be given for a prayer. He's going to keep you. Praise the Most High. Okay, verse 43. The king of Babylon, Jeremiah 50. Back to Jeremiah 50 now. Jeremiah 50, 43. Jeremiah 50, 43. I'm just going from stuff to stuff. Jeremiah 50, 43. The king of Babylon hath heard the report of them. His hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail. That goes to Jeremiah 30, if you remember. Behold, he shall come up with like a lion from the swelling of Jordan unto the habitation of the strong. But I will make them suddenly run away from her. And who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is like me? And who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Therefore, hear ye the counsel of Yahweh, that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. That's part 3 of the prophetic demise of Babylon. Chapter 51 is going to be more in line with Ezekiel. And so we're going to go through chapter 51. And again, it's going to also highlight Revelation 18. So just to give you a little, if you want to study ahead, Jeremiah 51 is a long chapter. It's like 64 verses, a long chapter. But read Ezekiel 39 and 38. And just to give you also some heads up, 39 of chapter 39 of Ezekiel comes before chapter 38. See, there's another one of those situations where they should be switched because of the way they put the scrolls. But chapter 39, chapter 38, Revelation 18, Revelation 19, Revelation 20, those are going to be Jeremiah chapter 51. Now, there's others. You can look at Isaiah chapter 24 also. That will help you with Jeremiah 51. Okay, there's other scriptures, but those I'll give you a lot right there to study if you want to go ahead and get ahead on this stuff. So Jeremiah 51 goes with Ezekiel 38 and Ezekiel 39. Okay, it also actually goes with Ezekiel 37 as well in terms of the Israelite rebuilding. It also goes with Revelation 18 and 19 and 20. And you might want to read Isaiah 24 and 25 and 26. If you get all of those together, you mix them in a bowl, you'll see a good picture of what's happening here in Jeremiah 51. Okay, so I'm going to give you that. And you'll see a multitude of similarities between the three, between all of those scriptures I gave you. There's more too. There's more than that. There's more in Isaiah. There's more in Zechariah. There's a lot, but I'm just giving you a few scriptures. Like I said, Ezekiel 38 and 39, Revelation 18, 19, and 20, Isaiah 24, 25, 26. Okay. These are all help you when you're studying of Jeremiah 51. As I said, there's more, but this is a really good, little synopsis start for you to start studying. Also, again, we did a study of Revelation, so you can look at the 18, 19, and 20 as we did it in great detail with the scriptures. You can see that for yourself. So it's all there. Okay. Please be careful out here. It's a dangerous time that we live in. Things pop off at any time, at any place. That's the way it is these days. Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves, right? Be wise as serpents, harmless as doves, and pray to the Most High Yah to guide your steps to where you should go, how you should be, where you should be. He will not fail you. He will answer you if your goal and aim is to bring glory to his name. He will answer you. He will guide you in the way you should go. You will be led supernaturally by his spirit. Ask him and he will protect you and he'll keep your life for you. It's that type of situation that we're in right now. Okay. Pray for us that we also be faithful to Yah. Pray for us that we stay faithful to his word, that we stay faithful to the calling wherewith he has called us to do his work as well. May he bless you and keep you and cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you and lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom.